And before we go out, of course, we want to add Minstrel to our party.
Alrighty, I'm coming.
Yep, get used to those smileys. We're gonna see a lot of them. Oh, I almost forgot to get more of those buff items. We're gonna need more of them. In fact, we're always going to need more of them. Also, you noticed that big treasure chest that I got at the end of the dungeon, the whole reward for going down there, at least for the base game? Whenever we go through story dungeons, we don't get that. And those are a pretty big source of things that we can sell. So that's the game's way of kind of encouraging you to take time off to do just the normal fields and stuff, but that's boring and I don't wanna. At least not right now. So I got these. Definitely need more of these. And nope, out of gold, and I want some more of this too. Yeah. So as you probably noticed, money is tight in the early game, as it very often is, including in online role-playing games, so kudos. So let's bear witness to this. This is mostly a dungeon to level up Minstrel, because while players do level up on their own when you do stuff without them, they start at a set level when the game allows you to first contact them.
Is Pyros in the dungeon?
So if I had somehow leveled myself and Black Rose to level 30, Minstrel would still be level 1 when we first recruited her. Once they're on your member address, though, you basically don't have to worry about their levels at all. Well, except to the extent that you have to worry about your own level. By the way, you've already noticed that this guy loves to throw out status ailments. And status ailments have an interesting division between them. Specifically, there's status ailments that go against physical resistances and those that go against magical resistances. And this is important for you when you want to put status on enemies. It also... well, excuse me. I'm starting to distract myself. I was thinking about that so much that I forgot to buff. Oh. Physical accuracy and magical accuracy are two different things. The same goes for evade. Oh, okay. Yeah, those symbol things appear out on the field and they give you random buffs. You can never get random debuffs or anything bad at all from them, so it's good to touch them if you find them. So, the Wave Master class does not have a normal attack at all, and this is actually good. The reason it's good is that if she did, she'd be inclined to walk up to monsters and hit them, and Wave Masters do not last very long when hit by anything physical. Well, especially anything physical, but also, she's level 1. Well, alright, I think I'm at the point where I want to start data draining things. No, wait, no. I actually should not. See that infection thing? You start at blue and you start changing colors as you use more data drains. and data drain can have side effects against you. They're extremely mild when you're blue, and a couple of them are even beneficial, but as you go towards green and then red, they can get much worse. And the way you go back to being healthy again is to kill enemies without using data drain. Antidote does hardly any damage, Black Rose. What are you complaining about? Also, you see how Minstrel is gaining like 170 experience per enemy? That's a good piece of evidence that she would die even if lightly poked. The good news is that most enemies attack whatever's closest to them, and since Wave Masters naturally hang back in battle, we can keep her alive reasonably well. Which is, I really like the way they thought to design it that way. So, more stuff to trade. Very nice. This is another treasure room, of course, and I...
What?
Whoa, whoa, whoa,
You
whoa.
wanna...
Whoa.
This is so exciting!
So, what are you offering for trade? Yeah, some of these things are... You have no gear at all. You have basically starting gear, but you have some really nice things for trade, and I don't know why. Well, nice for this part of the game. Like, look at this. This is a much better weapon than what I was using. Now, this is something that I actually was unaware of. I don't know whether she'll equip this after I trade it to her. But, hey, let's find out. No, she doesn't. So, items that you trade to party members... Oh, wait, no, she already had one. Never mind. That ruined my experiment. And no, the gear pieces to trade are not randomized. The only change that happens to gear that NPC offers up is that it can change depending on your level. Hello, Kaizen. I'm glad you were able to tune in. We've been playing for a couple of hours now, and this is the last dungeon I'm going through for the day. But now, I'm going to re-explain a couple of things, so for those who have been in this stream for a while, bear with me. I am playing as a person in a fictional universe called .hack, who is currently playing a fictional online role-playing game called The World. Except, it's pretty clear The World is more than just a video game, but we do not yet have any idea why. The thing we do know, though, is that things that happen in this game can affect the people playing it. And the reason we know this is because the main character witnessed his friend get put into a coma by something that's really bad. And that is as much of an explanation as I can supply at this time. Well, I'm going to provide a VOD of this later, and during my time in this stream, I've done my best to explain a lot of the game mechanics in this game, how they are not explained, and why they are so important to remember if you're playing this. I'll let you know when the VOD is up and what places to look in particular. That is, assuming I didn't mess up and all of this footage is going to be lost in the ether. I hope that doesn't happen. Anyway, we are in this dungeon because a very strange person has said that a quote-unquote friend of his is being harassed by a monster, which I'm quite sure is impossible even in the weirdness of a game like The World. And so my interpretation of it is that he just ran into it later and got smacked really bad. The good news is, if we go through this, we get him as a recruitable party member, and this is... well, oh, we can start data draining now. Once again, I'm going to skip this animation on normal enemies because otherwise this would take too long. Way, way too long. Oh, another headhunter. So, so far, I've not spent too much time in the menus here. That's because most of the problems that I've run into are solvable with only a couple of commands. This is going to change drastically as I continue in the game. Like, if I have to use anything other than normal attacks, then to the menu we go. Right. Now, I kind of wish I was using an area of effects skill for stuff like this, but I'm not going to worry too much because, well, this stuff dies pretty fast anyway. Well. Also, critical hits are a special effect which is a function of the weapon. This weapon that I got from trading with Minstrel next to me, it has the critical hit ability, which is not a thing you can do otherwise. Also, weapons, of course, have attack skills that are not just magical. I have a fire attack skill and a normal area of effect spin attack skill. Now, non-element skills are a fair bit less useful than their elemental counterparts, and the main reason for this is because when you have an element, that means you can target elemental weaknesses and cause all kinds of devastation. Also, you can just pretty easily compare the damage I dealt to a magical enemy, even a low-level one, as opposed to the more physically inclined ones. It is a gigantic difference. I think that the scaling is not quite as sharp when it comes to monsters attacking players, but it's still, of course, really strong. Like, you saw how Black Rose was killed in one hit when I was fighting the boss version of Headhunter. It was really ugly. Oh, and my buffs wore off and I wasn't even paying attention. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry about that. So as soon as I open these treasure chests up, we will reapply that stuff. I also like the things that the characters say when you open a treasure chest. Since you are somehow the boss of the party, regardless of circumstances, the loot division in this online game is horrible. Only the party leader gets anything. You have to depend on your party leader's tender generosity to get anything if you're partying with them. Fortunately, since you're the main character in a single-player game, it ends up being to your benefit to make sure everyone you work with gets everything they need. By the way, one of the reasons that buffs last a really long time is that once you start collecting more gear, the list of buffs that you want to put everyone expands considerably, and casting all of them takes time. Oh, when your skill point maximum reaches 30, that's when the increase in recovery speed starts to kick in. But even that has a few quirks to it. For example, if you're standing still, you get your full... I'm sorry, I'm distracting myself by talking. While you're standing still, you get your full recovery. When you're moving, you get half of that. And when you're in battle, you get a quarter of it, I think. But 1 is always the minimum. Now, if I remember this correctly, we're kinda getting towards the end of this dungeon. I've never seen... well, never is a strong word, but... 5 floors is really deep, and a lot of them have 4 or 3. Oh, it looks like we are at the end. That was the all portals open message. So, yeah. So let's see how Minstrel is doing right now. Not caught up yet, but I think one more dungeon run will do it, because you've seen how accelerated experience gain is if you're behind. Oh, I didn't spell this out, but you level up when you gain 1,000 experience points, no questions asked.
He of fair eyes, bear witness!
Uh-oh.
You're not gonna beat me! Whoa! I am quite a new man today. You think you can defeat me? Reveal your true powers!
Well,
Is he all right?
I don't think so.
I better help him.
Yeah.
Stay back!
He would never shut up if he got killed and knocked out of this dungeon. There we go.
That was quite refreshing. You may take the plunder.
Yeah, that thing that we've been picking up in large quantities throughout the first dungeon or two.
Oh, thank you.
No need to thank me. I have a feeling we will yet meet again.
Yeah, I have zero doubt about that, that's for sure. But recruiting him is actually nice because Heavy Axeman is the toughest physical tank in the game.
Until that day, farewell. May the stars shine until the end of your journey.
Well, he's really into this game, isn't he? Yeah, well. Well, let's save, as always. And I don't think I'm going to do another dungeon. And there's a couple of reasons for this, but I do want to at least set things up for next time. And then explain what is going to happen off camera. Oh, right. You can just log out at any time in town anyway. Oh boy, these guys. All right, there's actually a fair number of hints that the people who are quote unquote in charge of the game do not actually have full control over it. And the stuff going on with Kite right here is one of them. I have no doubt that Kite would be banned, like, the moment he put up the coma thread on the forum, if they had the ability to do so. But I don't think that they do. And bear in mind that Kite's just started playing the game like 2 hours ago, and to my knowledge did not enroll in anything. Oh, and this is the first of the email chains that you start to unlock once you increase affection. It's the choice actually matters a fair deal in some cases, because if you give the wrong answer, like something that's closed-ended or just kind of cold, the email chain will stop right there. And the benefit that you get from continuing it is that your affection increases. And because trading emails increases affection, and they trigger when you reach certain affection levels, you can often reach the threshold for one email by replying well to the previous one. For this first exchange, it doesn't actually matter that much, but that's definitely an exception. So right now I'm just going to answer the question. Now, I'm a little fuzzy on what it takes to unlock the next part of the story. Let me take a quick look. Yeah, I definitely cannot go here. What's this? So, there's two kinds of virus cores. There's the kind that you get from normal enemies and the kind that you get from story enemies. Most gates will require both, but this one requires 2 M keys, which are story only. And, well, this sort of situation right here, by the way, is the kind of thing that can throw people off, but the actual way to do it is to I beg your pardon. Check out that sweepstakes.
Congratulations! You're the big winner of our contest. Please take your prize. The Book of Law is a rare item that upgrades your character. Select the item from the item window, and the character's level data will be updated.
Okay. Let's just install this email attachment from a stranger, shall we? Well, I guess we're cheaters now. Well, we were doing extremely illegal stuff anyway. Like, even this character color is technically illegal. Never mind anything that the bracelet actually does. Yep. Alright. When she says, "come alone," yep, that's exactly what it sounds like. This next dungeon is a solo dungeon, so I hope you know how to make yourself overpowered. What's more, the dungeon after this solo dungeon has some difficulties attached to it. The short of it is, I need to do some stuff off camera. I need to grind more healing and recovery items, which I'm especially going to be dependent on because, well, I'm alone. I also need to trade for more gear, and not just gear that I can use, although that would be nice. Well, since all of that is pretty tedious, I'm going to call it a day for now. Thank you very much, everyone, for staying on this stream with me for however long you were able. I sincerely hope that you've enjoyed it, and I hope to see you next time as well. So, time to save and then quit. You're very welcome. It was my pleasure. I will see you next time.